on top of us.
So that was part of the
Part of his speech.
Okay, so it was intended to
get us on our toes, I guess.
Okay.
It's pretty funny though.
Do you remember anything that General Mattis said at that time? Addressed y'all with?
No, I don't remember anything about that. I remember just getting Marines promoted.
Oh, he actually promoted Marines?
He promoted Marines when he got there.
Oh, okay. But I guess with the F-18s flying over, he gave a big moto speech. I guess everyone was what was the general feeling of the Marines in LSA-7?
The general feeling was we're going into Iraq. That's what everybody was saying. We're going into Iraq and we're going to go do our business, conduct business, and get out.
Would you say that were they the Marines happy or excited or scared, or was it?
Marines were more excited, but they didn't want to let everybody else know that we were scared. So we were excited about it, but majority were scared, myself included. But I was excited at the time. So.
Well, after General Mattis was done, I mean, how many days was it till y'all got to the border? I mean, was there a lot of activity after that, or did y'all just jump right in the vehicles and take off?
We jumped in the vehicles and left.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yeah, it was about to the border. It was roughly about a week or so before we got to the border. Oh,
so once you got the word they were going to Iraq, it was about a week till you actually crossed the border?
No, it was more. I can't remember, about a couple days, 3 to 4 days, I'll say. Not a week, but.
Well, do you recall what happened during those 2-3 days? I mean, I assume you were in a combat stance, even though you weren't in Iraq yet. I mean, you were.
We mounted the vehicle, started pushing forward, moved that day into night. Dug fighting holes closer to the border, and that's when we heard the first Scud launch when we were inside our fighting holes. And over the radio, obviously, that's when battalion commander Lieutenant Colonel Welch was like, "Get your mop suits or your full NBC gear on." So
and that's the gloves, boots,
suits, and masks. So we get that on, and then we start. Everybody make sure everybody was good. Then he gets the word. The only thing that's coming off your body is your gloves and your mask. Everything else is staying on. Because the scud went over us, but didn't hit us. Particularly, it hit southern Kuwait. I would say somewhere in Kuwait. We didn't know that until later.
You said, sir, you actually heard it? I mean, did you see it as well, or?
I didn't see it. We heard a big old boom go off, and as like overhead, it sounded like an F-18, but it wasn't an F-18 at the time, so it was a Scud. So everybody was geared up at the time.
Okay. So at that point, and what part of the day was that?
That was roughly evening time frame, dusk, I should say.
Okay. Okay. From that point, I mean, were you on the border? Did you see the border? I mean, you know.
We couldn't see the border. The border was still out about 30, 40 miles north of us.
Okay. So were there? Did you just go up to the border, or I mean, was there any kind of any other activities you were doing at that time before you crossed?
Well, as soon as we got close to the border, I didn't know this that we were that close to the border till. We obviously got closer, and then our platoon commander was like, "Hey, we need to send patrols out." So I'm like, "Okay." My squad leaders gives orders and stuff that we're gonna go do this. Like, all right. So we're basically securing our sites, and went on patrol. Seen a guy standing with an AK-47, and.
Well, how far away from this was from the tracks? Did you say, sir? Or, I mean,
roughly about half a mile.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty close to us. And then, I told my squad leader this, like, Corporal Padre, like, "Hey, do you see this?" So I pointed the vicinity where that guy was. So he calls it into our COC, And they're like, yeah, we're still in Kuwait.
So sir, who was the individual with the AK-47?
That was a Kuwaiti bodyguard, I should say. He was they have their border patrol.
Oh, it was like their border patrol. Okay.
Yeah, so he was sitting or standing post, and we didn't know about it. We were that close to it. So we started patrolling back, and we started seeing Safwan Hill across the border of Iraq.
Safwan Hill.
Safwan Hill.
Safwan?
Safwan Hill.
Hey, so what is Safwan Hill?
It's the tallest, I should say, biggest peak of Iraq that we've seen. There's a big old mountain. That was known intelligence that Iraq was fortified and stationed there to attack us if anything.
Oh, so this was an actual hill or mountain in Iraq that actually had eyes on y'all?
Yes,